Okay, so Google just dropped something big. And I mean really big. We're talking about two announcements that signal a fundamental shift in how we actually create software. This isn't just another update. It's a massively powerful new AI model and a brand new platform that, honestly, aims to change the entire game. This quote from Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, it just hits the nail on the head. We've all seen AI get incredibly good at understanding things, right? It can look at a chart, it can read a huge document, and it can tell you what's going on. It can, as he says, read the room.
But that's where things get really interesting. And it's the whole point of what we're digging into today. We're moving beyond an AI that just observes and into a world where it's an active creator. What happens when the AI stops just suggesting code and starts building the whole thing for you from the ground up? All right, so what did Google actually unveil? Well, it boils down to two huge pieces of a much bigger puzzle. First, their new flagship model, which they're calling Gemini 3, and second, a completely new platform for developers that has the codename Antigravity.
So first up, Gemini 3. The best way to think about this is that it's the new supercharged brain behind this whole operation. It's built to be top of the line at reasoning, at understanding all the subtle nuances in a really complex problem. And it does this across text, images, video, and code. This is the raw horsepower that makes everything else possible.
And anti-gravity? Well, that's where this new brain really gets to shine. This isn't just another tool with some AI features bolted on. It's a completely new environment. It's designed to totally flip the script on the relationship between a developer and their AI, which brings us to a really, really important distinction.
Okay, to really get why this is such a game changer, we have to get super clear on the difference between an AI assistant, which is what most of us have today, and a true AI agent. And believe me, the difference is absolutely massive. So what is agentic development? It's a fancy term for a simple idea. You stop delegating tiny little tasks and you start delegating entire outcomes. So instead of asking for help finishing a line of code, you give the AI a high-level goal, something like, build me a real-time flight tracker app. And the agent has the freedom to plan and execute that whole complex process itself.
And this right here, this is the aha moment. It perfectly captures the change. An AI assistant, the kind we're all used to, sits inside your code editor, helping you with what you're already doing. But with an agent, your editor, your terminal, your browser, they all sit inside the agent's environment. You see the difference? An assistant helps you row the boat. An agent, you tell it the destination, and it figures out how to sail there all on its own. So the big question is, how does this actually work in practice? How do you build, a sort of mission control for these AI agents to do their thing effectively and safely? This is where we need to look inside anti-gravity. Well, first off, Google did something really smart here. They built anti-gravity on VS Code, so for millions of developers, it's going to feel familiar right out of the box. But then it adds this special manager view, which is like a dashboard where you can launch and watch over multiple agents working at once. And these agents aren't stuck in the editor either. They can use the terminal, they can use a web browser. Oh, and it's not a closed system. It also supports models from places like Anthropic and OpenAI. But this brings up the single biggest hurdle for any kind of autonomous system, right? Trust and oversight. I mean, if you have an AI building an entire app for you, how do you actually check its work without reading every single line of code yourself? Because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose. Antigravity's answer is this really cool idea called artifacts. Instead of just getting a giant folder full of code at the end, the agent produces these verifiable deliverables all along the way. First, it creates a plan. That's an artifact you can check. Then it builds and tests the code. And then this is the brilliant part. It actually runs the app in a browser and records a video walkthrough of it working. That video is another artifact. So you're not just reviewing code, you're reviewing the proof that the code works.
And really, this whole concept of verifiable proof, of artifacts, it's everything. It's the absolute foundation for how you build trust in the machine. Because without that trust, this whole idea of agentic AI just completely falls apart. Think about it. An agent that just dumps a bunch of code on you, well, that's still a black box, right? The burden of checking everything is still completely on you. But an agent that shows you the proof, that provides a screen recording of itself successfully testing the exact feature it just built, now that changes everything. The whole process shifts from debugging lines of code to just visually confirming that the outcome is what you wanted. You see it working.
Of course, this whole system is just a fancy car without an engine if the AI itself isn't up to the task. And the numbers for Gemini 3 Pro, wow, they really speak for themselves. It's topping the charts for complex decision-making, it's incredibly good at fixing bugs across big projects, and it's basically best in class when it comes to building web interfaces from scratch. You need that kind of horsepower for this to work.
And check this out, they've also built in this awesome new feedback loop. It's so clever. If you see something you don't like in one of those artifacts, like a screenshot or that screen recording, you can literally just leave a comment right on the image, just like you would in a Google Doc. That gives the agent super precise, contextual feedback on what to fix, without you having to write a long, complicated new prompt.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We've got the powerful brain in Gemini 3, we've got the mission control in Antigravity. What does this all actually mean for the future of how we build things? What's next? The central idea here, the really big shift, is that the developer's job itself changes. You're no longer just the builder, laying every single brick one by one. You become the architect. You design the blueprint, and you direct this team of super skilled, autonomous AI builders to actually construct the thing. Your focus shifts up to the high-level vision. This leads to this really fun concept they're calling vibe coding. Seriously, the idea is you can just describe a vibe, an abstract idea, and the AI can translate that into a real working app. Gemini 3 can create these amazing magazine-style visual layouts or even build custom interactive apps. They call them dynamic views, completely on the fly, just from your request.
But with all this new power comes, well, the next big challenge, right? The agent can be a genius builder, but the thing it builds is only as good as the blueprints and the materials you give it. Your product doesn't just run on general knowledge from the internet. It needs your specific, high-quality, proprietary data. So the quality of what comes out is going to depend entirely on the quality of the data you put in.
And that's really what it all comes down to. This whole move from assistant to agent, it's not just a new tool, it's a new way of thinking. So it leaves us with this huge, provocative question. If the AI is the builder, handling all the execution, what does the architect do all day? Honestly, that's the question we're all about to start answering very, very soon.